What up? It's DJ Tariq, one of the hosts of the Shooters Club podcast, photographer, videographer for Fame Academy.
Hi, my name is Thais Amber, and I'm one of the hosts of the Shooters Club podcast. I am a photographer. My company name is Grind Queens Photography, and I love to shoot everything under the sun.
Hey, my name is Carl Blacksmith Smith, and I'm one of the hosts for the Shooters Club podcast. I'm a photographer and videographer for Grind Queens Photography.
Okay, we are here at the Shooters Club podcast. We have awesome, great effects. We have Thais Amber and we have DJ
Tariq Nelson.
And you have Mr. Carl Blacksmith Smith.
Woo! The Shooters Club podcast. Anyway,
Welcome.
We have the legendary, renowned photographer, Mr. Joe Conzo Jr.
Yay! That's my guy right there.
Right. So about his, you've done so many things, Joe, but it's just an honor just to be here and just, to have our time with you and just vibe with you. We're just so excited just to spend some time with you.
Thank you, everybody. Black, Tariq, Ty, everybody. Thank you for having me on this inaugural birth of a new creation that you guys are stepping into and thinking of me to be a part of it. I'm honored and I'm blessed. So this is how the story goes.
Okay.
My stepfather, Michael Kane, was an amateur family photographer who put a camera in my hand, and I gravitated towards photography. I was a chubby little kid with a big Angela Davis afro, chubby cheeks, but I was the only kid in the block that had a camera, and people loved that. My coworkers loved that. My friends loved that I was taking pictures, and my parents supported my passion and love for photography. They allowed me to build a darkroom in our extra bathroom. And the rest is history. I went to school with Easy AD and Tony Tone from the Cold Crush Brothers. I started photographing the Cold Crush Brothers 77, 78, around that time. And through them, I got to meet Africa Bambaataa, Treacherous 3, Fearless 4, Funky 4+1, the pillars, the bricklayers of the culture that we call hip hop. So that's my introduction to photography. It became a passion and love. And not knowing what I was taking pictures of would become so entrenched in this culture. Right. 10,000 of my images sit on the shelves of Cornell University hip hop collection on the same shelf as the Gettysburg Address. Wow. How fucking cool is that?
That's very awesome.
I was a young kid from the Bronx documenting, my surroundings, what was going on. If you see my background there, that's a jam on 3rd Avenue in the Bronx. And on the wooden platform, that's the Mean Machine.
That's right. Before it was called hip hop anyway.
Yeah. And, so I've been blessed and I've been fortunate to document some of the early, listen, do I have some of the earliest images of this culture? Yes. Are there images that predate me, that came before me? Yes. I'm not going to lie. But what separates me from those other images is I am a photographer. Those other images were snapshots taken by other people that borrowed their aunt's little 110 Instamatic camera or their uncle's little Kodak camera and stuff. And, it's history, it's documented, but I took the craft of photography seriously.
Right.
So, you know,
How did you get 10,000 over 10,000 images?
that's because I love taking pictures. That was my passion.
It was like a million or something.
No, like the 10,000 is in Lehman College, and
Oh,
when
I
people
live in
could
college.
see,
Oh,
At
you know,
Cornell University.
Cornell
That's
University.
because I photography was just not a it was my love and my passion.
Right, right.
I went everywhere growing up as a teenager with a camera.
Hmm.
And back then, you know, if you had one or two rolls of film and each roll of film only shot 36 pictures, I was good. I was good to go. Unlike today, where you can go to an event and take 1,000 pictures in 2 hours,
Hmm. That's right. That's right. That's great. I
you
mean,
know, so you had to know your craft. You had to know the mathematics of depth of field, lens opening, shutter speed, how
exactly.
the flash worked in distance. You know, the flash at that time, you know, even today, a flash is only good for 5, 6, 7 feet.
right. Hmm.
So, you know, you have to know all these and I took my craft seriously, as I still do.
Right.
Yeah.
So, with your, just with you and the photography, you came from within the culture. It's not like you came from, another country like, Japan or Italy or wherever, France, to come to New York to take pictures. Like you started from
So,
a very young age.
so I'm assuming everybody knows who Bill Adler is, right? Bill Adler was the publicist for Def Jam Records.
Mhm.
Run DMC, LL Cool J, this, that, and the other. And Bill wrote or was interviewed in a book by Jeff Chang. And Bill calls me the greatest of all hip hop photographers because I came from within the culture.
That's right.
I wasn't sent on assignment from downtown to take pictures of the little blacks and Puerto Rican kids spinning on their heads, writing on the walls, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That's
I
why.
didn't jump on a plane to come cover the birth of, a culture that we love so much. Not to take away anything from any other photographers because there's only a handful of us from this era.
Right.
Mhm.
We all love each other. We all know each other. We all travel together. We all exhibit together. We all are tight because we are the gatekeepers of some of the earliest images of this culture. I just came back from the Museum of Pop Up Music in Seattle, Washington last week. And I was out there with Jeanette Beckman, who's known for her Run DMC photos,
Right.
her LL Cool J photos. I was out there with Fat Five Freddy, who I don't even have to mention what he's known for because he's Fat Five Freddy. And, we do panels, we travel the world together, we do things. So we're all friends. But they will tell you if you ask them, I'm the only one that came from within the culture.
Right.
Wow.
That's fascinating.
Joe, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you for even just being in existence in this photography business, And you and I, had our experiences, together. And I sat there and watched you. Well, one time I just watched you just do your thing. I think we was at Lehman College one time, and I'm sitting there just watching. I said, let me put my camera down and just watch this man. And you was going left to right. And you stayed at one point and shot this and that, third. Then somebody jumped in your way. You just kind of moved, slid on, and just still got your shot. No complaining at all, And you were so smooth. And then I bump into you and I say, what you doing, bro? he said, if you stay out of my way, you'll let me do what I do. And you kept on going and stuff. But I always admire, watching, legends do their thing, and sitting there watching you get more inspired, and just like Ernie Benacoli said, he's like, you remind me of me, Black. Like, I see you running back and forth on the stage. I used to do the same thing. And Joe Conzo and Ronnie Wright and everybody. So, he was bigging me up on that. But I get it all from you. I watch you.
Thank you. For doing this for so long, you kind of develop a photographer's etiquette, so to speak. Okay, my work has been described as a fly on the wall. Joe Conzo's taking pictures, but Joe Conzo's not taking pictures because you don't see him taking pictures. I'm not part of the act. You will never see me run across the stage and jump on, be part of the act. I'm constantly moving around. And if I can't shoot an event the way I've always been shooting, I won't shoot your event. I'm just sorry.
I agree.
I did hear
I need a leave the fuck alone Joe Conzo pass. Because that's the way I started shooting. There was only a handful of us, if that much, taking pictures of jams and everything back then. And that I incorporated it into the way I shoot.
Right.
And, prime example, I've been shooting for Rock the Bells festivals for the past 2 years. And, one thing that they give me, and, shout out to Rock the Bells and LL and his crew, is leave Joe Conzo alone pass.
Yeah.
Which is great.
There you go.
It's just, I will get you your pictures. I will tell a story with my pictures that nobody else is going to tell. The way they treat photographers today at events is that, you're in a cattle pen. You're allowed to shoot the first 3 or 4 songs, and they hustle you off to the side. Now, how are 30 photographers going to get 30 different shots if they're all camped in a little cattle pen?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not about that. If I can't have access to front stage, backstage, side stage, green room, red room, the bathroom, the dressing room, the crowd, this, that, and the other, I'm not shooting your event. Just leave me alone. And then 90% of the acts know who I am. So, and, a shout out to you, Black. Shout out to you, because we've been at dozens of events where you've given me access to acts that I didn't have access to because of your days being a producer, promoter, whatever manager, whatever you did back then. Okay. Whatever you did back then, you've given me, like, come on, Joe, we're going to go see, CL Smooth. And walk into his dressing room when nobody else is allowed in there, but Black's allowed in there, and you be like, Joe, take some shots.
There you go.
And I appreciate that. And we vibe off of each other. And, so one compliment back to you, and thank you for the compliment.
Yeah, definitely.
I have a question for you that I heard one time you asked before. You were asking someone this question. Is, do you think that us photographers get the respect that we deserve,
Of course not.
Right.
Of course not.
Right, exactly.
Listen, I'm okay with the role that I play, but sometimes I'm going to stick my ugly head out and say, fuck you, this, that, and the other, because at the end of the day, you and I, the 3 of us, every other photographer that tries to make a living out of this, we bring the visual aspects to this culture. And if you take away our visuals, what do you have?
You have nothing.
Nothing. And that's what I tell people. You know, you take away my archives, you're missing a big chunk of the birth of this culture. You're missing a big chunk of it. And that's okay. You know, you want to do something without me? Go ahead. You're going to be missing a big chunk. So yes, we don't get the respect that we rightfully deserve,
Right.
but we support each other. And that to me is priceless.
Always support each other. You know, I remember when I first came on board and hung out with, okay, so I'm gonna say you, Ronnie Wright, Ernie Panicoli, Kenya, and I think it was a few more others. And one time I think it was at a red carpet, we was somewhere and we was all taking pictures. And instead of jumping in front of each other, it was like a unison. It's like, okay, all right, look at this camera. Okay, now look at his camera. Look at my camera. You know what I'm saying? And then
But that's how we support each other, and that's
the first time I saw that, right? And to this day, I still follow that what y'all showed me, and
it's
that-
called
and
it's
like, you know, I see these new photographers come out. I try to tell them the same thing. No, don't bum right. Okay, let them go first. Second, look at his camera. Look at. They don't want to do that. I'm like,
and you know what it comes down to again. What it comes down to again is photographer's etiquette. Shoot and move. Shoot and move. Take your shot, keep it moving.
That's it.
Take your shot, keep it moving. That's it. Period. End of story. Or I'm tapping Black on the back of his shoulder saying, that's me pressing against your backside.
Exactly. Yep. That's
Do your shot, but I'm standing behind you taking the shot also.
Right,
Exactly.
And we work together. Same thing with Ronnie, Kenya, you know, Ernie, you know, everybody. That's how.
Yeah, and it's a
You
little
know-
bit hard as a female photographer because I'm short. I'm a female. They look at me and they start bullying. Give me the elbows. I'm like, listen.
But you know what? I don't have respect for people like that. I don't. You know, just because you have one of these doesn't make you a photographer. Just because you have an iPad doesn't make you a photographer.
Right.
You know, I've been in events where, you know, I've got a $5,000 piece of equipment taking pictures, and you're holding up your iPad, and like, would you move already?
Right.
Would you move?
I see that so many times.
Brooklyn Bowl for Slick Rick's birthday. I had
You
to
know-
stand up on a ledge.
Can you move a little bit? You know, can you bend down a little bit? I've stopped events and say, everybody move back.
Mm.
You know, I've been in situations where there's 20 photographers trying to get this one group shot. I'm like, stop.
Exactly.
Right.
Everybody take 3 steps back so we all can get a nice shot.
That's right. Right.
And that's what I do now. I just I stay away. I see all that. I said, nah, I'm good. And the crazy part is that depending on what type of camera and lens you have, like you don't need to be that close. So you could go back and then focus in. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
But again, if you don't know your craft, you're not gonna be able to do that. You know, when I first picked up a camera, I couldn't afford no zoom lens. I had one lens, and that was a 50 millimeter lens. So if you wanted a close up, you had to walk up and get a close up shot. If you wanted a wide angle shot, you had to step back and take a wide angle shot.
That's it.
Now you can get a medium sized zoom lens, a 24 to 70 or whatever, and stand in one spot and get different shots.
Right.
But you got to know your craft. You got to know your craft.
So getting back to the elements, and you guys were talking about, I remember one time just listening to you on an interview, and you talked about how one photographer will not be able to capture all elements. Can you speak a little bit about that?
So, I mean, listen, we all had our different lanes. In hindsight, I wish I took more graffiti shots.
Right.
I wish I would have taken more B-boy, B-girl shots, train shots, but my lane in my career was performance based. Performance based. Majority of my hip hop photos, jam photos, will be of performances,
Like taking pictures of groups,
Right.
groups, performing.
like the Cold.
Mind you, I'm known for my hip hop photography, but I also have tons of images of Latin music, of demonstrations, urban shots.
City events,
Say what?
like the parades and stuff, the Puerto Rican parade.
Puerto Rican parade, all that. So, but you have other photographers like Martha Cooper is known for her graffiti shots. Jeanette Beckman's known for her album covers. Because Ernie's known for his studio shots because he worked for Word Up magazine and had access to all of these groups that have become superstars.
Like Jamel Sabaz.
Jamel was strictly documentarian,
Street.
documenting Brooklyn and everything that he was doing. And he's one of my mentors. Jamel and I both worked for the city, retired from the city. We were both in the Army, retired from the Army. And he shot strictly Brooklyn, mostly Brooklyn. And I shot mostly the Bronx. But, I love Jamel. And that's why we're so close. We all know each other.
Wow. I got this shirt I made, right? So the other, I think I made the shirt like about a year ago, 2 years ago, and it says the 4 elements of hip hop is what? The mic, the graffiti, the break dancer, the DJ, right? So that's the 4 elements that everybody says, right? So
True.
I did a shirt. The 5th element is the photographer. And I showed this to KRS-One, right? And you know what he said? He said, wow. I said, yeah. I said, well, explain that. I said, because without the photographer, there will be no elements of any photography or video or anything. He said, good point. That's what he said to me. He said, good point. He said, wow.
But Chris knows that. Chris is big. KRS-One knows that. He's big into documenting and preserving history. And he knows that you cannot preserve or document history without imagery, without photography or videography or oral recordings.
And when I made this shirt, a lot of photographers thanked me for making the shirt, like Ronnie Wright and Ernie. They was like, "Oh, good luck. I need a shirt that way," because it's like we left out. I don't want to be left out in this in what this passion of photography. This is my passion. This is what I love to do. Right. This is my passion. This is what I love to do. So my whole thing is I want to let it be known. Like when we started us three started this the Shooters Club podcast. Shooters Club podcast. We want people to know us. This is what we do. I'm tired of going to the clubs. I want to take it there. I'm tired of going to the clubs.
Go there.
They say, yo, Black, yo, it's a dope shot. Let me see the front. Yo, send me that. Send you what? I'll send it to you. You send me your Cash App. All right? And nowadays, people it's all this free stuff. I don't know what's all this free stuff going on. The DJ get paid.
Right.
The artists get paid.
Carl.
What's up?
Oh.
I'm going in, bro.
You got it.
I'm going in.
Slow down. Take a deep breath. Woosah. Woosah. That's the world we live in today. Okay? To quote Fat Joe, yesterday's prices aren't today's prices. Okay? To quote, I make a pretty decent living licensing my images. And I get requests a lot of times for images, for documentaries, for books, for this, for that. at 1980 prices. And I'm like, no. And, you got to stick to your guns. I wanted to become a successful photographer, a famous photographer, and travel the world. That I wrote in my yearbook in 1980. Were you born then, Black?
Say it again?
Were you born in 1980?
I was born in 1967, brother.
67? Oh, you're an old man like me. So in 1980, when I graduated from South Bronx High School, under my yearbook picture was, I wanted to become a successful photographer, famous photographer, travel the world, the whole 9 yards. Black, it took 30 years,
Wow.
but it happened.
Right. So you would
But
say
it
30
happened.
years later is when you really started seeing a return?
Yes. So, shout out to all the photographers that have been able to make a living off of this
Yes,
crap,
Yes.
right? Because if I depended on my photography, I probably would have been homeless. But there's been years where I made more money from my photography than my city job.
Right.
And, being a photographer doesn't give you health insurance, doesn't give you, benefits and pensions and stuff like that. So you got to really know your craft to do it. And, every once in a while, you're going to have to say yes, like you have in the past. I'll give you this free photo, but at your next show, I better be on the guest list or the VIP list to shoot.
exactly.
Okay? I give out free photographs all the time. But when you need it for an album cover or something like that, you're paying me.
The bus coming, exactly.
Right.
You're paying me. You want to put it on a t-shirt, you want to do this, you're paying me.
Yo, I was telling Ronnie yesterday that, you have your independents people that want, pictures for just regular pictures to post on Instagram or whatever. But then you have your corporate people that want pictures for big businesses, whatever they need to market it. And that's where the big money really coming at.
Listen, there's big money out there. You just got to find it, and you got to stick to your guns, and keep doing you.
That's it. That's what we got to keep doing us.
That big paycheck is going to come if it already hasn't come. But you got to stick to your grounds. But not you have to have relationships with the artist that you shoot. Okay? You have to. Because if you don't have a relationship, you have to respect your subject. Because if you don't have a relationship with the people you shoot, they're going to cut you off. Because they'll get a 21-year-old with an iPhone to take that same picture. See, but the difference between you and I, or the difference between us and them, is that we have name recognition that comes with a photograph. So Carl Blacksmith has name recognition when he's shooting a picture because he's been in the game for X amount of years. Joe Conzo has name recognition attached to a photograph because he's been in the game since day one. And T, you'll get it also.
Yes.
All right.
I'm here. I'm ready.
You'll get it also.
Thank
But that's just the way the world goes around.
Yeah.
What can you say? Ronnie Wright's photo. I could take a Ronnie Wright photo. You could take a Ronnie Wright photo. But if you attach Ronnie's name to that photo, he's going to have name recognition. And Ronnie shot everybody. I don't know anybody Ronnie hasn't shot.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
I shot everybody. He showed me his book yesterday. It was crazy.
But Ronnie would tell you he's had to grind
Right.
to get where he's at. grind. And I'm pretty sure there was times in his career that he was like, fuck, how am I going to pay the rent next month?
Yeah, that's what we talked about. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
And that's why and this is me, I had to go get a 9 to 5 because I had a family. But I never gave up my passion and love of photography. And I was able to do both. And that's why now, in the last 6 years, I've been able to sit on my ass, get a paycheck, a pension check, and still do my photography.
Exactly.
Right. That's awesome.
While some other motherfuckers still have to work their asses out there, you know?
But listen,
Oh.
but listen, I told Thais maybe a year ago or whatever when we started really grinding in the streets. I said,
2 years ago.
maybe 2 years ago. I told her that camera that you just bought, because we went to BMH.
Yes.
She bought her camera, a 90D, bought her laptop, the new brand new Apple laptop, and
Batteries, SD
batteries,
cards,
she bought everything.
flash,
She spent
yes,
thousands of dollars of whatever she wanted to get.
Grind Queen
And
photography.
I said, that investment right there, that camera you just bought, is gonna take you around the world.
Yes.
Just like when you and Ronnie was, doing your thing, and then Ronnie hit me in the head. He said, "Black, watch and see. That camera's gonna take you around the world."
Right.
And it did. It took me to Europe. It took me Brazil. It took me everywhere. Everywhere. Japan.
Black. I've been to Bulgaria.
I ain't been there yet.
Hip hop is alive and kicking in Bulgaria. So yes, all the places you've named, I've been there before. I still go, and it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing, a blessing, a blessing. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful to my camera, to the relationships, to the people that I've shot, and what I do, and the respect that I have from I did a podcast last year sometimes, and at that table was MC Light, Yo-Yo, Sophia Chang, giving me, this Puerto Rican kid from the Bronx, props. MC Light saying, "You have the receipts." How fucking dope is that?
Right. I hope it does take me around the world. I'm ready.
It will. It will. It will. It will.
They took her to Puerto Rico. She took some dope pictures in Puerto Rico the other day.
Yeah, LA. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we did the Grammys. We did the Grammys
in LA.
And she took almost every picture of everybody there, from L Cool J,
Yes.
Queen Latifah. Like she
Yeah.
caught up.
Jazzy Jeff.
She
Good.
caught up. She caught us up.
5,000
Everybody
photos.
was there.
I took a lot of pictures.
Everybody was there. So
Good.
I ate, slept, drank, photography.
Joe, I wanted to ask you some questions.
Go ahead.
When you're first starting out, I know you were connected to the Cold Crush primarily, but when you're first starting out as a photographer and you're going around and you're taking pictures of various people, do you run into people who have bad attitudes or don't appreciate what you're doing, and how do you deal with those people?
Okay, so when I first started out, everybody wanted their picture taken. There was no internet, no Facebook, no Instagram, no TikTok, no nothing. Not even MySpace, whatever. So nobody mind having their picture taken. And just like Jamel does to this day, Jamel will take your picture and you'll see him next week and he'll send you that shot.
Wow.
He'll walk around with his books and show people, "You're in my book." Today's different. Everybody's a photographer.
Right.
Social media has been a blessing and a curse.
Right. That's what
I've been in situations where I'm walking in my hood, the pump is open, the kids are playing in the pump, it's 90, 100 degrees outside, and parents are questioning me, why am I taking pictures of their kids?
Right.
And rightfully so.
Mhm.
But until I tell them, take out your phone and Google my name, they're like, oh shit, take all the pictures you want.
Right. Right.
So it's a different atmosphere.
Yeah, you definitely have.
I've been in events where I'm not going to name artists, but don't take my picture, Joe. I'm like, no problem. You won't be in my next book. You won't be in my archives. It's all good. It's all good.
Right.
It's all good.
And that too, man. Don't take my picture, Black. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you have to
It's all
respect.
good.
If he upset,
I've got pictures of people that nobody will ever see because back then we used to do things that are not conducive today. Drug use, this, that, and the other, and that's the respect that I have for the people that I take pictures of.
Of course. Yeah, so that goes basically in your grave. You don't want, they will never be able to have people see those type of pictures. You know what I mean? To embarrass them or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. So I hope that answers your question, Tony. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. So Joe, to this day, right? For people that's to this day, like everybody wants to be a photographer, like you said, but and those that's really inspired to be on the next level, like we are, the professionals photographer. What would you say to those people today?
I mean, listen. If photography is your love and passion, follow your dream. Follow your dream, but you have to have a plan B, a plan C. Okay? There's no reason why you can't juggle 2 or 3 different careers at one time.
Of course. Absolutely.
There's no reason.
Well,
There's no
firemen
reason.
do it. I know some of them are chefs. Some of them they have other jobs besides, being a fireman. I know a lot of them.
EMS.
It just that's my lane. I had to get a city job.
Mm-hmm.
People were like, "You're working for the city. You're never gonna make no money." I didn't become rich off of it, but those same people, I'm like, "You still working? I'm retired. My check comes every month. Pandemic, World War, this, that, and the other. I'm good. Why are you still working?" Oh, fuck you, Joe. I'm like, all right, I love you too. And shit. I love you too. But never give up on your dreams or hopes or aspirations. Never. Ever, 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 ever. It'll happen eventually.
Of course, definitely.
So, how many books do you have written? Or
How many
books do you have produced?
I personally have done 2 books. Born in the Bronx and 111 places in the Bronx you must not miss. I've been a part of
Not Amazon either.
I've been a part of maybe 100 books that they've licensed my images.
And how can we purchase your book?
Oh, I mean, you can go
They're not on Amazon. I checked.
You can go anywhere. Google Born in the Bronx, and it'll come up different sites where you can buy it. You can contact me directly at joeconzo.com, or Instagram or Facebook.
We would like to put a link in the comments where people can purchase directly from you. That's if we can make that happen, that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Conzo at Instagram, whatever. I get those messages. I'm not, my platform is open.
Okay.
So people can buy books or merchandise or whatever, my little Born in the Bronx pins, whatever you want.
So John, I asked Ronnie Wright this yesterday, right? So you took pictures, everybody, right? And you put them in your book. Do you or do you not ask for permission to put your images in your book?
So legally, if I took your picture, I can do what the fuck I want to it.
Thank you.
Legally.
There's a gray area because people
Now there's a fine line.
Right.
Yeah,
And that line is that if I do merchandise, so if I take a picture of LL Cool J and put it on a t-shirt, legally I need LL's permission. Okay.
Right.
Don't you remember that big case last year, Jonathan Mannion and Jay-Z?
Oh yeah, Jonathan Mann. He did all those album covers with DMX and everybody. Yeah.
And Jay-Z's people went after him,
Mm.
and Jonathan's like, I can do what the fuck I want with them. They're my photographs. I didn't sign them over to you. And he won.
Mm.
Just yesterday, I read they settled a lawsuit between Biggie's estate and Chi Mandu, the photographer, Chi.
Did he die?
Yeah, he
He
passed away.
passed away a couple years ago.
Yeah, I know Chief.
Phenomenal photographer. Phenomenal photographer. He took some of the most iconic images of Biggie in the Twin Towers.
Now,
That lawsuit, that lawsuit was settled.
Wow.
It's gotten to a point now where these big megastars want to control the narrative, and that's their business. That's their business. But like, I can take any of my images that I shot 50 years ago or yesterday. I can put them in galleries. I can put them in books. I can put them in documentaries. I can put them on whatever.
It's your picture.
Because
exactly.
you own that.
My picture.
Exactly. I had an artist tell me, because I'm working on my book now, and I showed him, okay, so I have all these artists that gave me shout outs. Like Big Daddy Kane, Roxanne Shante, they gave me shout out to Blacksmith, the images is crazy, whatever. It's all going in my book. So whatever they say goes in my book, and plus the photo I took of them, right? So the quotes. So one artist was like, if you put it in there, I'm gonna sue you for placing my images on there or whatever. And I say, wait, it was a public.
So you tell that artist, be my guest. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Told me that. So I
Go
said,
ahead.
I'm not even gonna put you in my book.
Oh, you know what? Don't even put him in the book.
Exactly.
Him or her. Whatever. And when your book comes out, they'll be like, damn, Big Daddy Kane said this? KRS once said this?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I could have been in that book.
Exactly.
He has almost shout outs from everybody.
Yeah.
Because Black's been around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was a crate boy back in the days carrying records. Saw me taking pictures and brought himself a little camera and started taking pictures too. So
I was inspired by brothers like you, man, all day long, inspired. So I caught the bug. Okay. Sorry.
No.
Oh, okay. So I have like over 13 pages of stuff on Joe Conzo. The one question that I asked Ronnie that I think I'm going to ask almost every person that we interview or, we have this vibe with. What do we not know about Mr. Joe Conzo, Jr. that you'd like to share? Ronnie said not the secrets. No, we're not talking about that. But just, something that they don't know.
my life is pretty much an open book. I'm in recovery. I'm drug free 33 years now, coming this March. I was homeless at one time. I was strung out on drugs, crack, heroin, cocaine. My life is an open book. I'm a cancer survivor, 9/11 pancreatic and liver cancer. I've done some stuff that I'm not too proud of in growing up, but it is what it is. I've made amends to people in my life. So my life is pretty much an open book. I collect refrigerator magnets. Not too many people might know that.
Right.
But I'm pretty much open about my trials and tribulations made me into the man that I am today. I'm not ashamed to say that, I slept in abandoned buildings or,
With the afro?
with an afro, a nappy afro. A nappy afro because I wasn't taking any showers and shit.
Oh,
You know? But I'm not a perfect man. There isn't a perfect man around. I wasn't a saint. Saints aren't walking the streets.
Right.
You know what I mean? We all have our demons, our trials and tribulations, but they make us into who we are. And if you're okay with that, and if you've made amends to the people that you've hurt in the past, you can move forward. You can move forward, and you thank your higher power,
Mhm.
whatever you call them, God, Jesus, Jehovah.
Yahuwah.
Right. I really appreciate you being transparent.
Yeah.
Dead or alive, who is someone that you would have in the back of your mind that you would love to shoot, before you retire? I don't think you'll ever retire the camera. But dead or alive, is there one person that you
I would love to shoot Stevie Wonder.
mm,
So I've shot Gil Scott Heron, I've shot Smokey Robinson, I've shot Jay-Z, Nas, DMX, Stephanie Mills. I mean, the who's who of music.
But never Stevie Wonder?
wow,
Really?
we gotta make that happen.
Sorry,
Right.
never had a chance to. Last year, I got to shoot the Doobie Brothers and Santana and Earth, Wind, and Fire. And of course, I had to leave Joe Conzo alone pass because if I wasn't going to shoot the way I can shoot, I wasn't going to shoot. But these are all based on relationships with people that I've had.
Mm.
And they like, Joe, come to mic check and shoot, the Doobie Brothers. Come to mic check and shoot Carlos Santana. I've shot pretty much everybody. I would, so it's Stevie Wonder and drum roll,
Who?
Sade.
Who?
Sade.
Oh,
Yes. She was in a
That's
big-
my bucket
Listen,
list.
she was in
I
a
would give
also, yes.
Wife.
I would give
Love her.
this left pinky.
Yes.
What you said?
Sade.
I would give this left pinky. I would give it to science.
Yeah.
This left finger.
Can we be there? Can I be there?
If I could shoot Sade
Yes.
for an hour.
All right.
Wow.
Super awesome.
And you talking about a show, an event, or a personal photo shoot?
Just her.
Both. Pinky. For this left pinky, both.
Yes.
We didn't get into any technical stuff. What cameras you prefer to shoot?
So I'm a Nikon guy.
Yes. Just like Ronnie Ray.
Black. I've told you this.
I'm a Canon. But listen, hold up.
We're all
My first camera was a Nikon.
And you should have stood with it.
No, you know why? Because when I had the cool pick, I had the little camera you saw me with when I first started, and then I was influenced by other photographers say, "Yo, Canon is the best because you can change the lens and that all the lenses go with all." I just ran with that, man, and I never looked back.
So I'm a Nikon. I started off with Minolta. Minolta doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Went to Nikon, and every lens that I've had that's 30, 40 years old still fits on my Nikon digital cameras today.
And
I just went mirrorless last year
Really?
and should have done it years ago. I fucking love it.
Wow.
But all those lenses fit on my Nikon Z7 camera, and I love it.
Question: you're walking out right now to shoot something very important. You only got room for 2 lenses. What are you bringing?
I'm bringing a medium zoom 24-70, and I'm bringing the big boy 200 to 400.
There you go.
Wow. And you're not worrying about the weight.
No, I have calluses on my hands and everything. It's part of the business.
yeah, exactly. Me too. I got some on my hand too.
I got strap burns and marks from, walking around with a 20-pound camera because that's how much it weighs, around my shoulder. That's part of the business.
Wow.
Right.
And as far as archiving, what are your techniques when you come home and you got your
Oh, I suck. I suck.
Mm.
So, like, today I was putting together some images for a request. Thank God Cornell digitized all my negatives, all my photographs. So you can go to Cornell Hip Hop collection and look at all my images. And under the images, they have where it was shot, the year it was shot, but they have what's called an index number. So it'd be JC, Joe Conzo underscore 1234. So what I tell people when they want images, just to give me the index number and I can find the image.
Right. But
My digital work, I have about 5 external hard drives, and if you don't give me a year or place, I'm going through 5 external hard drives looking for one shot, and it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. I do the same.
Well, that's what people don't understand when they ask, like, Blacksmith, can you send me that photograph that we took 10 years ago? And it takes work, it takes time and work to find it.
I mean,
It's hard.
there's technology and
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. There's technology. You can, Lightroom and all of that stuff. You can index your digital stuff, and boom, you can find it in a heartbeat.
Right.
I'm too fucking lazy.
But thank God for your mother. Like back in the day, you said.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Save all of
the story goes is that when I was dealing with my demons, my drug abuse, and I was homeless, my mother saved my negatives, and also Easy AD from the Cold Crush Brothers.
Right.
And between both of them, they saved the majority of my archives.
Mhm.
Wow.
And if it wasn't for my mother and AD saving my negatives, we probably would not be having this conversation right now.
Wow. Yeah, amazing. And I heard that's your mom. That was the only thing that she can hold on to during that time.
True. She would tell people, I was a drug addict. I wasn't her son anymore.
Right.
Because my mother threw me out of the house in the middle of the winter. And it was the best thing she ever did. Tough love.
Right.
But the only thing she could hold on to, material wise, was my negatives.
Right. Thank God for that.
I don't want to get too personal, but just from a business perspective, what was going on? I mean, you would think that maybe you were somebody who had nothing going on, then you got into drugs, and then you saved yourself, and then you got into photography, but you were already into photography.
Yes.
So we would think that, you had something to really hold on to. Why would you get
So you got to understand the time. My images date back to 77, 78. They stop at like 80 something, 84, 85. Why? Because I got involved with drugs. Drugs was just a social thing back then. Friday night, get a tray bag, nickel bag, $10 worth of cocaine. You were good. You're hanging out, this, that, and the other, boom, boom, boom. It wasn't until I experienced death for the first time in my life, when my grandmother passed away, that I turned to drugs to mask a pain that I had never felt before in my life.
Right.
Drugs for me were just social. Friday night, Saturday night, hanging out with the guys, the girls, we're having a good time, go to work, boom, boom, boom. But when I experienced death for the first time in my life, I never experienced that pain. And I turned to drugs, and the rest is history. So I had nothing to fall back on. I lost everything, apartment, sold all my equipment, this, that. Nobody's going to buy negatives. We're talking 85. There's no internet. There's no nothing. There aren't any famous photographers taking pictures of hip hop back then.
Right.
We didn't know who Martha Cooper was. Her book didn't come out until years later, or Jeanette Beckman or Ernie. We weren't established. It wasn't like I could take my negatives and go sell them. So, it was a different time, a different era. I may be the first, but I was the last in this field. And I'll tell you why I say that. It wasn't, I was discovered in 2001, 2002, when I got a call from Henry Chalfant,
Okay.
who was doing a documentary, Mambo to Hip Hop. And he interviewed Charlie Chase, and Charlie Chase had on his mantle a photograph from back in the days that I had made. And Henry wanted to use it in the documentary. And Henry called me up and say, Joe, I'm Henry Chalfant. I'm like, fuck, I know who the fuck you are. Subway Art, this, that, and the other. Can I license this image and give you $300? I'm like, fuck yeah. Ma, you still got my negatives?
Mhm.
And after that documentary came out is when VH1, MTV, everybody and their mother was calling me. So I may have been the first to document some of the earliest images, but I'm the last to get onto the scene. Ronnie Wright was doing his thing already. Ernie was doing his thing. Jeanette Beckman, all these people were doing their things. Jamel Shabazz, I'm looking up to them, working my city job. And it was one phone call that changed my life in terms of my photography.
They say the last will be first. The last will be first.
So,
That's right.
real quick for some of the new photographers, get into what your routine would have been once you've gone out and say you've taken a roll of pictures with the Cold Crush on the weekend. What then?
Oh, so, it was, back then it wasn't about record deals. It wasn't about, the bling. It wasn't about nothing. It was about Friday night, Saturday night, period, end of story.
Right. The jams.
Friday night, the jams. Friday night, Saturday night, what school, gymnasium, what PAL, what park, this, that, and the other. That's what it was all about. I would shoot my rolls of film, 1, 2, 3 rolls of film, depending on how many fell off the back of the truck back then, or how many I was able to, 5-finger discount, at the store. And then I would go home and spend a couple hours in the darkroom developing the pictures, because next week at the Cold Crush Jam at the T Connection, we're going to throw out 8x10 photos to the crowd.
Wow.
Because they had the foresight.
Right.
They had the foresight.
They did. And
So, I'm sorry, how did you get into learning how to develop your own film?
On the job training.
Wow.
On the job training. You love something so much, you learn how to do it.
You learn how to do it.
You go to the library, you pick up a book.
Yeah.
Today you can Google it. I went to the library, picked up a book. Back in those days, they taught photography in school. You learn from your teacher. On the job training.
Right.
Graduated from high school, I worked for a fine arts photographer, taking pictures at the MoMA and all these big museums, making a few dollars. Then I went to School of Visual Arts, SVA. I did 2 semesters there studying photography.
Wow.
I had to drop out because I couldn't afford the tuition.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, you love something so much, you got to know the origins, the people that contributed to it, and how they've done it. And you look at some of my stuff. If I tell you I looked up to Pablo Picasso. What's the first thing you think of? Paintings, right?
Yeah.
That motherfucker was doing light drawings with photography.
That's right. That's right.
So if you look at some of my archives, I used to take my camera, shut off all the lights in the living room, smoke me a joint, put my camera on a tripod, and take a candle and write my name in the dark. And you would see it on film photography.
Wow. We have to.
So it's just learning different crafts. You can do it today with digital, but it's just learning who the pioneers were. Ansel Adams, all these people. And that's, I tell that to everybody. this is what you love so much, know the origins and the roots and how it's like why we doing this podcast
Right,
Exactly.
absolutely.
to teach the young kids, the up and comers, our experiences, our hopes, what we went through, what we're going through, and what we aspire to do.
Right.
Just like, just like in hip hop, like when it started from '73 and at the very, very humble beginnings, to now it's like multi-billion-dollar industry. You know what I'm saying? But like I said before, and I say it again, if it wasn't for the photographer,
Yes.
Black, we played a role in it. We played a role in it.
huge
A
role.
huge role.
We played a role in it, and some people get it, some people don't, and that's okay with me because when we're gone, our images will still be here.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's what I
Our
told
books
Ronnie
will
said.
still be here.
Ronnie said the same exact thing.
Yeah, it's true. So when Ronnie was talking about taking pictures of, your grandmother, your family, and start with that. Did you take a lot of pictures of your mom and your grandmother and
Oh, that's how pretty much everybody starts.
right?
You take your brothers and sisters and put them on the couch. You move the lights around. You get different effects. You family gatherings.
Mhm.
It is our responsibility to tell our story, and that begins with the family.
Right. But some people, some photographers, the level of
They want
importance is not there. They want
they want to jump into the limelight first.
concerts and the artists and okay, your family wants you to do their 80th birthday party and no, I don't want to do that, but you'll run out and take pictures of the legends. So it's good, take pictures of your family and stuff like that.
I mean, at the end of the day, who's going to support you? The artist or your family?
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. Everything
Exactly.
in perspective. We have to do a documentary or talk to Ralph McDaniels and Blacksmith and Tyreek here to do a documentary on you.
Well, there is a documentary being done. There's a group of people that have been following me now for about over 10 years. If you go to my Instagram page, there's 2 or 3 teasers up.
So when is coming up?
It's a process, Black. It's a process.
10 years, bro.
He knows that. He knows that.
You said 10 years. Like
10 years.
Well, if we can
But-
do that, that'd be great.
But this is a work in progress, and it's done out of love. There's no checks being written or anything like that. So that's why it's a work in progress.
Is that just
But
like you said your book came out when?
oh, my book Born in the Bronx came out in 2007.
07. Okay, that was a
So
process.
this is the 3rd edition that's being released now, and LL was so graciously, said yes to doing the forward of the book. So,
So you-
this is the
yeah.
3rd edition.
What makes it different? The first, second, and third edition. What's different? No, I don't mean
I
give
guess
us.
we gotta
Don't
buy
give us
all
the
three.
secrets. I mean, as far as
So, what's the difference between a digital print and a silver gelatin print that I did in my darkroom?
Not
silver
much,
gelatin
right?
print?
Not that much.
That long-
Big difference.
What is a silver display?
What did he
Black.
do?
I'm gonna do me a favor, T. Just smack him in the back of the head
I
for
didn't
me.
hear. No, I'm trying.
Yeah, I couldn't hear it either.
So, Black. Silver gelatin is a
silver
paper.
gelatin.
Silver.
Oh,
So-
Gotta excuse my false teeth here.
yes,
Silver gelatin
yes,
are
that's-
prints that you make in a dark room
right.
with
Right.
chemicals.
And then the digital.
Digital print, I print on my printer that's under my legs right now.
Right.
right.
So what people want are the original print.
Mhm.
Okay? So, that's the difference, So a first edition of a book that was made 15 years ago is worth a lot more than a book that's printed yesterday
Right.
because it's the 3rd edition.
Right.
So if you go on eBay and put in Born in the Bronx
Right.
book, you'll see the first edition for $600, $700, $800, $900 versus the book that just came out, the third edition, for $40, $50.
That's a big difference, yeah. You'll probably sell more of the $40 books as opposed to $900 books, yeah?
Yeah, and they'll become, you know, iconic too.
And, I just want to say, man, it's like this has been like one of the most inspiring podcasts, that I've heard in a long time, man. And especially coming from you, one of my mentors, just like Ronnie Wright and Ernie Prenacoli. It's definitely been a blessing, just to hear, these stories, man. And
Tell Ronnie Wright to stay in Harlem, okay?
Thank you so much for being transparent. I really enjoyed myself with you. I'd love for you to just say what your grandmother said, where there's always a silver lining. Can you say that in Spanish for me?
No hay mal que por bien no venga. There isn't any bad that happens that good does not come out of.
That's right.
Man,
That's words that I live by. Big shout out from Joe Conzo, the man who took hip hop's baby pictures to the Shooters Club, Blacksmith, Tariq, and Todd. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Love you guys.
Thank you so much for watching the Shooters Club podcast. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe below to our YouTube channel. Thanks again for watching and have an amazing day.